Hi everyone, welcome back. Today we're actually going on an adventure. What's that? Leaving the house? It's not just, hey, I bought more stuff, we're actually going somewhere? Shocking. So we are heading out on a trip to Schaefer Prairie and Ottawa Bluffs. Got it.
There you go.
There they are. One, as you may guess, one is a prairie and one is a river bluff. Both of them are in southern Minnesota, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Southern Minnesota, like south central-ish. Is that right?
Yeah, the prairie's mostly west and the bluffs are mostly south of the west that we're going.
Okay. I just knew we were going to end up in Le Sueur at some point.
Yeah, we're making a triangle basically.
All right. So, I've never been to either of these places, and I've heard about them, but I've never been to either of them. So, do some video, show you what I find. It's early May, so there's not a lot happening on the prairie right now. I'll tell you that. So like the best time to go to the prairie if you want to see a cool prairie, but there should be some plants starting. My plants are starting, so I assume their plants are starting, so we should be able to see something at least, and I might even be able to tell you what it is. That'll be exciting. I might not. It's been a long time since I had to know mid-May prairie plants by sight without them flowering. So we'll find out if I still know anything about anything. And so it'll take us a bit to get there. I don't know how long, but I'll check in when we get there and we'll see what we can see. All right, so we have arrived at our destination. Well, destination one. This is Schaefer Prairie. As promised, doesn't look like much right now. Maybe it will farther in, but right now it looks like a ditch and some dead grass, which is, it's a ditch and sleeping grass. So I'm gonna attempt to find us a way down here that hopefully doesn't involve me getting super wet or things jumping out and surprising me, which might also happen. This might not have been the best way into the prairie.
Yeah, they were just basically like, look for the sign, you're there.
Yeah, I know.
It's one of those, it's open to the public.
You're on your own.
Yeah.
It's open to the public, have a good time. You're on your own. You should definitely be ready for small mammals and also snakes.
Okay. But probably not poisonous snakes, right?
No, not here.
Okay.
Just, you know, in all this cover,
Yeah.
you should be ready for that. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
So,
I'll try not to shriek on video.
I'll try not to shriek on video. You've got a buckthorn problem.
Yeah. Don't they?
They do.
I can see it.
Hey, look, I found some golden Alexander. There it is. Mine's bigger.
Yep.
It might be parsnip. What do I know?
You can touch it and find out.
I'm not gonna touch it and find out. For those of you who don't know, this plant is what I'm talking about. This one right here. Wild parsnip and golden Alexander look very similar. Wild parsnip is a invasive weed that we don't like, and it has something in it called a phytophotochemical that will basically mean if you touch it and then your skin is exposed to sunlight, it will cause large black blood blister-esque burns on your skin. I used to spend a lot of time walking around prairies with a special shovel that was designed to cut the tap roots, which are very deep in, of wild parsnip that was called a Parsnip Predator. I'm not kidding, that was the name of it. It was patented. And basically you put the shovel in the ground at the base of the plant and you kick the shovel very hard and cut the taproot so you can pull the plant out. If you know anything about physics, you know that this means that the plant top kicks straight back at your face. It was awesome. I did manage to avoid most of it, but one time one of them caught me on the side of the neck just under my ear and somehow caused these two like this size circle burns, and Jonas said it looked like I got bit by a vampire.
Yep. It really did though.
It was pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Anyway, here's Schaefer Prairie. I haven't found anything interesting. I really hope this is Golden Alexander. Because otherwise they have a major problem with some parsnip. But that's all I'm seeing so far is parsnip or Golden Alexander. I'm gonna call it. I'm gonna trust that it's Golden Alexander, because otherwise, yikes. Ooh, this is something. What is it? I don't know. Something though. Something. Ooh, silphium. It's a silphium. Yeah, I don't know the difference between them at this point. Compass plant, lead plant, and the other one. I think it's the other one. I should have worn full socks.
Yeah.
This is dumb. I'm clearly out of practice.
Yeah.
Ooh, these are also something. I don't remember what. Something. What's this? This is also something.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what you get today. My deep knowledge of prairie plants. This is something.
You're better once the flowers are out.
I am. This is something. That's all I got for you. This stuff here is also something because it's in my yard. Do I know what it is there? Nope. I think it's echinacea. Could be wrong though. Oh, there's definitely a stick in my shoe already. It's not a stick, or it's like broken grass. Ouchie. I paused for me to get this sharp thing out of my shoe. This is a lot of buckthorn, y'all.
Yeah.
There's a problem right here.
I feel like you need to like...
So all these trees that are here,
yeah,
these should not be here. These are a problem.
I feel like you need to send a message to someone.
I know.
You know about your buckthorn problem at Schaefer Prairie?
Oh, hey, did you know that there's a major problem with buckthorn at Schaefer Prairie? You should probably address. I'm assuming they know, but... maybe they don't.
Maybe this one doesn't have dedicated preserve staff.
It doesn't. There's like one for the region.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Or two. I don't know. I don't know who works for who anymore.
Yeah.
That's a thistle. Don't step in it.
What?
There's thistles. Don't step on them.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
You'll regret it.
Yep.
This tree broke.
Yep. That happens.
It's fine. It's fine. Pretty wet right here.
Yeah. That's probably why there's all those cattails.
These are really big
birch trees.
Birch trees.
Yeah.
Huh. I mean, look, I don't mind birch trees on the prairie. They're not supposed to be here. Mm-hmm. I don't mind them, but I'm just a little surprised that they've let them get this tall. Sorry.
Yep.
Tussocks and stuff. This is like, we're getting into wetland now. I'm not going to.
Yeah, let's go to the left.
Like, I'm not walking into wetland right now. Yeah. Like all that up there with the cattails,
yeah,
that's gonna all be wetland.
Okay.
And I don't particularly feel like walking through that right now.
You can go over here where there's
Grass.
And then if we exhaust over here, we can drive down.
Sorry, I keep tripping on the tussocks. This stuff here is tussock sedge. And that's why the ground is really uneven, because it grows in these little mound things. Oh, my foot is wet! This is not better! This is not better. Ah! I got wetland in my shoe. Okay, we seem to have run out of prairie at this point. Yeah, we're gonna go to let's find a different spot and see if there's more prairie.
Yeah.
So this is the not very exciting prairie.
Yeah.
Right now. It will be, I think.
Yeah.
But it's still too early for it to be truly exciting.
Also, it'd probably be pretty cool if we had like the knee-high.
Yeah, if we could go in the wetland.
Yeah.
But
one doesn't necessarily expect a wetland, and
yeah, I was not advertised about a wetland. I was advertised about a prairie.
Yep.
But not so much a wetland.
Yeah. Also sorry about your socks.
Eh. I didn't wear nice socks.
That's good.
I'm not new. My lament was that I wore short socks instead of full socks.
So you
because I was like, oh, what if I get hot? And I was like, now I'm like, well, dumbass, what if you get
broadcast seeds?
Broadcast seeding. That was blue stem.
Yeah.
Gosh, it's like I'm out of practice. Like,
yeah,
I didn't put on full socks. What's wrong with you? Put on full, long pants.
Not ankle length tights.
Not ankle length. Well, yeah. Or shorts. I'm not that new.
Yeah.
But I am out of practice enough that I was like, what if I get hot? And then I put on short socks.
Yep.
That was my mistake.
Much better to be hot than constantly coated.
Ooh! Look, I found some flowers. What are they? I don't know. They seem cool though. I'm gonna take a picture and then I'll look it up and maybe I'll put it in the video at this point if I can figure out what they are. Yeah, we're gonna try to find a new spot. See if it's any better there. So, you know, stay tuned. Okay, so we found another part just down the road. This is actually really interesting and I'm glad we've landed here because you can see on this side, it's dark. It doesn't look like anything's growing. It looks like dirt. It may even look burnt to you. That's because it's burnt. This is recently burned, probably this winter burn, early like February, March, not March, maybe. I don't know when they burn down here. I'm not sure what their window is. But you can see the new grass coming back in after the burn. So this is a really good way of maintaining prairie vegetation. You can see over here, there's all this kind of dead cover. So when you burn, most of that burns off along with invasive species and stuff you don't want. So what you need to know about prairies is that most of the action happens underground. They have very deep roots. Things that are adapted to grow in a prairie environment, their tap roots are often longer than what you see on the surface. So even if you burn off everything on the top, you're not actually going to kill the stuff that you want here. You will kill the things that you don't want, like the shrub cover. The shrub cover that's here is probably something that they want. It might not be. I don't know. It's all burnt, so I can't tell. So hopefully the goal with burning this is to top kill. So historically, prairies burned every 2 to 3 years, whether it was lightning strike burns or indigenous communities burning it just to maintain the grasslands and keep the cover down and burn off the dead stock and just basically regenerate the growth cycle. It's actually how they have been adapted to grow. So you actually need to do that in order to keep them healthy. Otherwise, there starts being a lot of tree and shrub, and the native plants and grasses can establish as well. So this is probably due for a burn coming up, and this is just being burned. So you can see down the middle is what looks like a nice mowed path. That is a fire break that they mowed down probably to almost nothing, which in the winter there would have been snow cover on it, or probably snow cover on it, and so it wouldn't have burned as well. And so then they ignite along this line right here with what they call a drip torch. It is exactly what it sounds like. It drips fuel that is lit on fire, and then it just burns into the wind, which this might have been the end or the beginning. I don't know, because it depends on wind direction. But yeah, let's go and investigate this part. It's pretty cool. We can see what's coming up post burn. So you can see here the grass is charred. I mean, it's disintegrating, but it's regrowing, right? So you have all these new grass shoots, which is healthy and good and means that things are coming back as they should. That's Canada wild rye. This is blue stem. Okay. I can tell by the growth pattern. You can also see here are some non-grasses, so what they call forbs, which are the flowering plants and the non-grass plants on the prairie. So you won't see a lot regrowing just yet, because this really looks like a new burn. It really looks like they burned this winter. So it'll take a little bit to regrow, but it's gonna come back looking really nice, I think. This looks like the start of the burn line. It's very charred right here. You can see there's more green in the middle parts. We can walk in here, but it's probably better if we don't, just because everything's brand new and regenerating. You can see though that the Golden Alexander, right, I showed you before, just fine. It's totally fine. It's like growing just like everything else is growing outside of this fire line. So that's a really good example. People always think like, oh, you just burned it, you lit it on fire, what's the point? It's actually totally okay. See, so here's a Golden Alexander plant inside the burn, and here is one just outside the burn. See, they're totally fine. This one's a little ahead, it's flowering, so that one's putting a lot more energy into regrowth, and then it didn't get to the flower stage, but it'll get there. So yeah, that's a common thing when people see prairie burns, is they're like, but you're killing it. Like, no, we're killing off all the junk we don't want. Like, I don't know if you can see from here, but there's a whole bunch of burnt sticks in the middle right there. That is stuff we wanted to kill, and it's dead. It's dead, 100% dead. So That's the point of the prairie burn. Yeah, here's what the other side of this fire break looks like. Mostly just looks like dead grass, because it is dead grass. Like the top cover from before. Ooh, something lives here.
Look at that nice soil quality.
Yes, that's where the prairies are here. That's where the good dirt is, underneath here. That's why they cut down all the prairies and planted crops in them, because they're flat and they're easy to cut or just, burn down. And they have the best soils for growing things, because corn is a grass. So, it makes sense that a large flat piece of land that is really good at growing grass would also be really good at growing corn. Shocking. Soybeans are nitrogen fixing. They're called legumes, and a lot of prairie plants are in the legume family, Fabaceae. But that is the legume bean family. And there are many prairie plants that are members of that family of plants. Oh, there's a crane.
Oh, a crane. Is that a sandhill?
Yeah. Don't know if you could see it on the video. It's over there. Like flying around, but I can't. The video is too dark for me to tell if you could see it. Hopefully you can. That is a sandhill crane. One of my favorite animals. I wish it would make noise because they make the coolest sound. I haven't seen sandhill cranes in Minnesota.
Yeah, usually they're more up north.
Yeah. I know they have a lot of them in northwestern Minnesota.
Yeah.
But we're west enough that it makes sense. But
yeah.
in and around the Twin Cities, you mostly see herons and egrets because we have so much wetland. Sandhill cranes love a good wetland, don't get me wrong. Ooh, this is a cool plant. Why don't I remember what anything's called? I'll put it in the video. I'm gonna look it up. It's cool though. It's cool. Trust me that that's a cool plant.
It's because we're old now and we forget things.
I had to clear all that space in my brain for other stuff.
Yeah.
I used to have to know. Ooh, we're getting a little wet again. Because I used to have to not cut stuff down that I didn't want cut down.
Yep.
This is squishy.
Yeah.
It's clearly prairie, but
it's very wet prairie.
Yeah. We're transitioning into
Yep.
Transitioning into a new cover type.
Yep.
We've gone from the dry music into the music prairie.
It's like walking on sponge.
Yeah, it's cool actually. So a lot of times actually when we buy a prairie,
yeah.
We don't buy it as prairie.
Yeah.
We buy it as an ag field.
Yep.
And then we put it back to prairie. So a lot of times what they'll do is plant it to Roundup ready soybean for a couple of years.
Yeah, to get the nitrogen
the nitrogen back in the soil.
And then you can kill everything else.
Yeah, and then you can kill it. And the Roundup ready soybean just means you can herbicide.
Yeah.
So you can kill all the grass and junk that you don't want in there.
Yep. And then reseed.
Yeah, and then reseed it with the grass you do want in there. So we actually use soybean a lot.
What happens to the soybean after it's done growing?
We sell it
okay.
to make money.
Cool.
To get our money back on the farmland we just bought.
Makes sense.
Yep. Owl pellets.
Owls.
Owls were here.
Yep.
If I had gloves on, I'd dig through that, but I don't, so.
Yeah, so no.
Not touching it. Yeah. This is nice. This is a good prairie walk right here. We're getting somewhere now. I see. See, this is why they told you to park by the mailbox.
Yep.
Ooh. Yeah, they are sedges.
They have edges.
They have edges. These are sedges. There's a little rhyme they taught us. Sedges have edges, and rushes are round, and grass is something down to the ground. I don't know about grass. Everything's grass. It's weird when it's not grass, but I saw these and was like, this is sedge. These are sedges, which is actually a wetland plant, which is, I said we were transitioning into a prairie type from probably mesic to wet mesic, but it might be dry mesic to mesic. I can't tell you without actually digging up the soil. Mesic just means it's a mixture of wet and dry, but wet mesic, as the name suggests, means it is wet, more on the wet side of the mixture. And that is why we have sedges.
And why it feels like we're walking on a sponge.
And why it feels like we're walking on a sponge. Because we are. If we were in there, over there, it'd be way drier, I think. But I don't want to bother the fire plants.
Yeah. They're in a delicate state.
Yeah.
Got it there.
A thing got at. Oh yeah, it did. That looks like a turkey by the amount of feathers. Vegans probably shouldn't look at this. I'm gonna zoom in. That's definitely a large bird. Circle of life, friends. Stuff eats stuff. I'm not fussed about it. Ooh, fire got out.
Yeah, a little bit, didn't it? That's why you mow a wider fire break than you think you need, right?
Yeah. Oops, fire got out. So they actually also, they bring out, there's a whole crew.
Those are cool.
That's the one I said, that's a cool plant, and I can't remember what it is.
It's just more grown up.
Yeah. So we'll have to look in the plant book when we get home. I didn't bring the plant book with me because, you know, why would I do that? Yeah, anyway. They burn with a crew of people, and they have trucks with big water. Something lives there too. Water tank pumps on the backs, like huge water tanks that they can spray if the fire gets out. And then you also have these weird things. They're like flat rubber mats on sticks that you like whack the fire with. And it puts it out.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
That's cool. Walking that on a stick.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm not fire certified.
You used to be though, right? Or were you?
No, I can't. I actually can't pass the pack test.
Because of lifting?
Yeah, because you have to be able to carry a certain weight on your back across rough like terrain.
Yeah.
A certain distance in under a certain time.
Yeah.
I definitely can't do it. So. I have observed a burn, but I'm not certified to actually do one. I was there when they happened, but
that makes sense.
I had to stay in the truck.
Forgot about the weight.
Yeah, because a lot of times you'll also have tank packs.
Yeah.
Water tank packs.
Yep.
Yeah, I had to stay in the truck. It was fine.
Yeah.
I just sat in the back of the truck and watched everybody else work.
That ain't a bad day.
It wasn't a bad day. It was better than a lot of days. Oh, that is Trillium.
Okay.
It's one of the early spring ephemerals. It's very small. They're not usually that small. That one happens to be very small. But
what lives in these holes, do you think?
Snakes or small mammals.
Okay.
Hard to tell. Judging by the fact that there's a half-eaten egg by that one, I'm guessing snakes.
Yeah.
Although we might be western. I don't know what the range of the ferrets and prairie dogs are.
No.
There's not enough of the holes for it to be a whole colony.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we should actually watch out for grassland bird nests.
Yeah.
Didn't think about that, but it's May.
At least we're walking right
Yeah,
here.
when it's right here is fine. When we were in there before, I was not thinking about that, and that would have been bad.
Yep. They have a hard enough time as it is.
Well, I mean, obviously, as I've seen 2 half-eaten eggs
Yeah.
so far. So we've arrived at the end of our journey at this part of the prairie because we have run into a creek. Probably not an official sort of creek, but one that is here now. So, this is big enough that it might actually be permanent. So we can go no further.
Yeah.
I hear you. That was a red-winged blackbird. They're nesting right now, so they're super territorial, so they will attack us if we get near them. They're over there, though.
That's good.
We're all right. I can hear them and I can see them, but they're across the water, so we're fine. So yeah, here's some water. It's muddy. Shocking, considering most of the land around here is agricultural field that's bare dirt right now. Not overly surprised to see a whole bunch of mud sediment in this creek. But yeah, you can see over here it's like treed. That's because it's wet. So there's probably a lot of bottomland hardwood forest, probably. I don't know what kind of trees those are. They look like hardwood stuff. Anyway, what they call bottomland forest, which is a forested wetland type that runs across along this river creek thing. I don't know what this is. And then probably it goes into prairie again somewhere, but I don't know how to get over there, so I will have to investigate via Google Earth what is happening over there. So yeah, that's our time at the prairie. So yeah, we'll check in with you whenever we get to where we're getting next. All right, significantly different landscape. As you can see, we are now at Ottawa Bluffs, as advertised. Bluffs in the township of Ottawa. Correct. This has also been recently burned. Not this season, probably last year. It's crunchy, so. I had to walk up a really big hill to get here. It was a lot. It was a lot. Not gonna lie, I'm way too out of shape for this. And I did squats yesterday, so my legs already hurt. And then they were like, hey, you wanna walk up a hill? And I was like, I really don't. Okay. We're gonna make it. There's a nice path right here. So I'm gonna stay on this. This is another fire break. I'm gonna stay on this fire break
Hopefully it'll take us to the top of the bluffs.
Maybe.
If not, it'll take us somewhere.
The road's very loud.
Yeah, it is.
There are actually people here, so I had to wear my mask. They seem to be doing work. They were colored. They had armfuls of plants, so I think they were weeding. Raspberries.
Yep, sure enough are. Yeah.
Both of those birds are cool. Can I tell you what they are offhand? No, I just know they're cool. One of them's a sparrow. I don't know what the other one is. That one's a sparrow.
It sounds like just about every other sparrow.
No, it sounds different.
Oh, that's how you know it's cool?
Yeah. It might be a song sparrow? I don't know, I'm guessing at this point. Whew. I'm already out of breath. Been walking for 4 minutes. Can't take it.
Well, you should just run right up there.
I know.
Prairie.
I know.
Prairie.
Yeah, but now I sit in the house.
The most you do is walking circles around the house.
Yeah. Terrain? What's that? Sorry about this video or the audio. It's just like listening to me like hard breathing.
Hopefully we'll end up with a view from the Majestic State Highway. And it'll all be worth it.
It is. It is right now. Every day's leg day. I hear you all thinking to yourself, don't you have a whole series of videos of you playing tennis? Yeah, I don't run.
That's my job.
That's why I'm bad at tennis. I don't have a lot of videos of me playing tennis well. If I have to play Monday, it's not going to go well. After all of these hills.
I'm going to have to rest all day tomorrow. Or it'll be so great Monday because running on a flat surface with friction is going to just seem so easy.
Yeah, but you know legs always hurt worse the second day. I'm so pathetically worn out. Man, this is my second awakening.
This is Bascom Hill. This is the hill in Duluth all over again.
So look, nice view. Look at that. That's nice. Yeah. This is that hill in Duluth all over again. Fun story for those of you who haven't heard it. Jonas's dad was in Duluth running a half marathon.
Yeah.
Was it a half?
Yeah, he ran the half.
Okay. And we went to see it. It was June. Went to see him. It was hot. Like hot. So hot. So humid. So awful. Duluth is on the lakes, Great Lakes, Lake Superior. So it basically is a lot of hills going straight up and down. And we had to park at the top because the marathon had the streets closed down by the lake. So anyway, we went down to the finish line. Jonas's dad had, finished his half marathon. And then we had to walk back to the car, and we were walking up the hill. So Jonas's 65-year-old dad, who's had a heart condition and cancer, all of that stuff, had just finished running a half marathon in like 100-degree Fahrenheit heat. And we were walking up this hill, and we got about halfway up, and I had to stop and rest because I was winded. And his dad was looking at me like, what is wrong with you? And I was like, this is an intervention moment, isn't it? On we go. Oh jeez, what is that? Prairie drop seed maybe? It looks like blue-eyed grass, but it's really faded if it's blue-eyed grass. Dunno. I'm as good as someone whose legs are screaming with lactic acid buildup can be. Really.
Come on, you can Joey cheek it.
I know, I'm trying. I'm gonna channel my speed skating days. If you get through the initial buildup, you're fine. I just never wanted to get through it. I just stopped. I was like, no, I'm done. Oh boy, look, a tiny milkweed.
Yep, there. Yeah, I saw some back there too.
Cool. I don't know what kind, but
it's a milkweed.
It doesn't matter at this point.
No.
You can do it.
You can.
What if there's more hill after this?
Looks like it's walking, got it? And then clearly there's a downhill that comes out.
Yeah.
Slightly farther than where we went in.
I'm dying slowly.
Well, when we get up here, let's rest. You can have some water.
I don't have any water. I'll fit in the car. It's heavy.
You can have some of my water. Okay?
Okay. I promise you all, I'm the one that used to do prairie restoration. I used to do this every day, 5 days a week.
Well, I would say here's the end of the bluffs.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. That was. It was 16 years ago. I'm a different person now. Here's the end of the bluffs. Just ends straight in this field right here. That's what it looks like this way. This is pretty.
Yeah. It looked like there was an overlook more that way, but I don't know how to get there.
Well, probably I think you have to go through.
Just walk around the fence line?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that's what the other people did.
Yeah.
They just went that way.
Okay.
Right?
I would imagine.
Like they got up here and they went away. Like they don't just, unless it's like a portal and you just vanish when you get through there.
Well, I guess
we can find out. I'm gonna have some water and chill for a little bit, so. That's the Minnesota River right there. You can see the bridge mostly. Not so much the river, but the bridge. So here we are.
Yeah, the river's mostly that way behind the trees.
Kind of over there. I can sort of see it. The Minnesota River is a nice river. They let it mostly just keep its floodplain. So it's not channelized like the Mississippi is. There's a lot of riparian forest land along here. Not as much farm, more tree. That's nice.
Mm-hmm.
Keeps the river in good shape. So here we are, Ottawa Bluffs overlooking the Minnesota River. Alright, that might be all for us today. We'll see if we get up to anything else, but I'm just gonna hang out here for a little bit, but that's head our way back down, which I will try to not, subsequently fall all the way down this bluff.
Mm-hmm.
They say down's easier than up, and I was like, only if you want to run.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, yeah, that's it. I'll check in at some point, I'm sure. But bye for now. So, this is how it looks down, which is a little terrifying, actually. Not as intimidating as staring straight up a hill, but only slightly less intimidating when you think about it, to go down that slope. Also, as I noted, as I just tripped over one of the cut sticks that are everywhere, that's actually going to be the nemesis on this hill, is maybe I can get down the slope without falling, but if I hit a stick, I'm done for. Sorry, camera. I love you. Let's both try to make it through this together. All right, we have successfully made it home, as you can tell by the fact that I'm standing in my house. Although you don't know when this was filmed. Maybe I filmed this before I filmed the rest of it, and then I just put it at the end and I told you we made it home, but we actually didn't. That's not true. I don't want to work that hard. So it was a good day, and we saw some cool places I had not seen before. Sorry about my shoddy video work. I couldn't actually see the visual display most of the time because of the sun, so I just reviewed some of the footage and was like, oh, well, I thought you could see what I was talking about, but really it was just the sky. So, apologies for that. I'll try to get better at making vlogs, taking video footage, stuff like that. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this, and if you did, give me a thumbs up. If not, give me a thumbs down so I know. Let me know if you have been to these places. Let me know if there are other cool places in Minnesota that I need to see. Let me know if you enjoyed my impromptu conservation and prairie ecology lecture. Just making stuff up mostly. That's not true. I actually know what I'm talking about. I have a degree. I have a piece of paper that says I know what I'm talking about. So, there's that. That means something, right? If you want to see more, there's a playlist that I will link on the screen of my adventures. I'm not going on as many as I had hoped to when I first started the channel, but hopefully get back into some more this summer. I have some more places identified that I would like to go, so hopefully I will get there. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.